to talk about pronoun agreement because it's one of the most evil ways they test grammar on the test because it is so different from how we speak, right? Now, broadly speaking, pronoun agreement simply means that the pronouns have to agree in number and, if necessary, gender with the nouns or pronouns they replace. Now, the fancy word for nouns or pronouns they replace is antecedents, right? It's the words that come before. Some of this is really simple, right? This first example, Richard told me that he was tired of people making fun of his nickname, right? Poor Richard. So Richard, he, his, right? These are all acceptable pronouns, right? So that's not a big deal. And when we're dealing with plurals, it's also pretty straightforward. In order to appeal to a wide audience, television stations have to sequence shows in such a way that viewers do not have to wait too long before seeing a show they like, right? Now you could say, okay, the pronouns match up in this case, but maybe maybe it's ambiguous. Maybe the they is ambiguous. Excuse me. Because I don't know if it refers to television stations or the viewers, and that's a legitimate point. But in this case, the pronouns at least agree in number with the antecedents. And very good of you for spotting pronoun ambiguity. All right, so it gets a little more complicated when you're dealing with words that might be plural. So famous for their sticky feet, the gecko can run up walls and across ceilings as well as hang from the surface by its toes, right? So we have an it, we have a there, right? Which one is correct? Well, says the gecko. So is gecko singular or plural? And if you have never heard of a gecko before, you may not know the answer to that question. So chances are you need to know some specific words in order to answer questions like this correctly. In this case, gecko is singular, right? So its is correct. There is not correct. It should be famous for its sticky feet. Okay. Now you could obviously fix this by changing the subject too. You could say geckos, famous for their sticky feet. Geckos can run up walls by their toes, and that's totally fine way of fixing this. But again, these are things that can lead to tougher to spot pronoun agreement, right? And sometimes the test can also switch pronouns mid-sentence. So although its reputation is not as good as it once was, the bank was still proud of their productive, intelligent employees, many of whom have served time in federal prison, right? So a little dig at HSBC. But anyway, so we have its, we have their, and we're talking about the bank, right? So which one is it? Is a bank an it, or is a bank a they, right? And again, we speak about banks all the time with words like they, but technically a bank is an it, right? A bank is singular. It's not a group of people, right? So it should be it, a part of its productivity, right? It's no apostrophe, right? That's not right. So it's productive, intelligent employees, many of whom have served in federal prison. So that's another time where it's really difficult to identify whether the antecedent is singular or plural. Now, there is a whole category of questions that there's a whole category of words, rather, that may look plural but are actually similar, and these are called collective nouns. And that's this little list of words right here. So every single word in this list right here is, in fact, singular, even though it refers to something that is a collective, right? So army is a collective of soldiers. Audience is a collective of, people. Board is a collective of members, right? So each of these is a collective, but the word itself is singular. So every single one of these words has to receive a singular verb. It has to be replaced by a singular pronoun. These are really tough to track. Sometimes it's really easy to just forget that these words are in fact singular. So I'll leave this list up here for a few seconds. Go ahead and copy it down and learn this list of collective nouns because they're definitely going to be tested on the SAT.